Diane Rosignola with REIT, and I'm here today with Jeff Smith, U.S. real estate leader at Deloitte. Jeff, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Diane.
Deloitte offers a broad range of services across tax, consulting, audit, M&A, and risk and financial advisory services. Can you talk about how you serve clients in the REIT and commercial real estate industry?
First, I want to also just, again, thank you for having us here today. Deloitte's had such a great relationship with REIT over the years and with your constituents. So we're really proud to be a platinum sponsor this year. And I can talk about our real estate practice for a while, but I'll try to keep it brief. We have over 7,000 real estate professionals globally, and about 1,500 of them work here in the United States in basically every major market. And we serve over 80% of the real estate Fortune 500. We serve over 50% of the REITs in every single sector. So we have lots of real estate expertise. If you think about how we can help, I'd say it's how we help clients. It's really in four ways. If there's a problem, you got a problem you need solved. If there's an opportunity that you need some help exploring, if there's risk that you feel like you have, or if there's just good old-fashioned, regulatory compliance that you need, then Deloitte's going to be able to help, and we'll bring real estate expertise. But with the shift with the pandemic, I thought I'd just kind of highlight three areas where we're helping clients right now. We did a Real Estate Outlook 2021 where we surveyed over 200 CRE senior executives. And what we heard from that is that real estate companies are trying to reduce their operating costs by 20%. That's a lot. That's hard to do. But we have a group that can help with that. They'll help look through your processes and where you can get more efficient. They'll look through your structure and what it is that you're doing as a real estate company that maybe it makes sense to outsource or co-source with someone else. And of course, they'll look at technology to understand where technology can help as well, which gets me to the second way that we're helping. 56% of those surveyed in our outlook said they acknowledged really that the pandemic exposed that they hadn't spent enough on technology over the years and that they weren't as capable digitally as they wanted to be. So we've got a group that'll help with digital maturity assessments and helping you evaluate, how you're using data, what you're capturing, how you're analyzing. Are you using third-party data along with your data to really get good insights around where the markets are going? And then the third is, I'd be remiss, most of REIT knows us from our audit and tax services, and we're very proud of those practices, and that we help companies with their real estate structuring, tax structuring, as well as that we help protect management as well as the investors in real estate through our audits.
2020 marked the 60th anniversary for the REIT industry. How does the pandemic stack up in terms of the biggest challenges the REIT industry has faced over the years?
You mentioning the challenge from the pandemic, and I think it's important just to pause and just recognize how horrible, this pandemic has been for everyone. A lot of people have lost loved ones, and people feel like they've lost time. And so it's hard to talk about the bright spots that are coming out of that, but I'm going to try to do that as it relates to real estate. Because, I've even had a couple people who have insinuated to me that, maybe coming out of this pandemic, real estate has a problem. And I've got to remind people, real estate doesn't have a problem. Real estate has an opportunity. I mean, real estate is fundamental to our daily experiences. If you think about every impactful, experience that you've had in your life, there's a real estate element to that, which is foundational. But things are shifting. And so it's important to keep those shifts in mind and keep it in context in the history of the other issues that have come up before. So I've been through the cycle a few times. I've been doing this for about 30 years. And I think it's important, I'll talk about the last cycle and compared to where we are now. It's important to remember that real estate companies are in a much better position they are now versus where they were going into the recession back in 2007 to 2009. Debt to equity ratios are much more favorable. Debt is laddered appropriately and the maturities are longer. There really hasn't been overbuilding going into the pandemic like there was before. Maybe in retail a little bit, but the other sectors not really. So we're really positioned better to come out of it. To put it in even broader context of a longer period of time, I want to credit Ken Riggs from RERC, who I was able to host on an Outlook debrief that we had a couple of weeks ago. He reminded me and all of the viewers about, every 10 years, something happens in the world that creates an impact that either directly or indirectly impacts, real estate. So think about in the 80s, there was the boom, the oil bust. Then in the 90s, you had the banking crisis. Interest rates were up in the mid-teens. You had the dot-com bust in 2000s, and who would have thought, how disruptive that would have been to markets. And then, of course, we had the last recession as well. And the thing about it is real estate always comes out of it. And you got to ask yourself why. And I think it goes back to some of those things that I was mentioning before, that real estate's just so fundamental to our daily human experience that it's going to be there. It just needs to shift to understand how we're going to use it. And that's what's going to have to happen over the next couple of years.
And finally, how do you see the pandemic impacting M&A in the year ahead in the REIT sector?
Good question. It's anytime that you have like shifts in markets and then some disruption that's happening, I think some people see a lot of opportunity. And certainly the market fundamentals are pretty good right now. Interest rates are at historic lows, with the $1.9 trillion package coming through, money in people's pockets. Some feel like there could be some pressure on inflation, but I think we can all acknowledge that interest rates are low and we're expecting them to stay low. Real estate as an investment class is mature, and those who invest have allocations ready for real estate. And then the third part that helps is that there's a lot of dry powder out there right now. A lot of private equity firms have raised funds and they're ready to invest. They're just waiting for the right opportunity. So I think that there's going to be opportunity there in one of three ways. First, distressed sales. We know that there's been some distress in retail and hospitality. And as that bid ask comes in, I think people are going to try to make a deal. There's also shifts in markets. So there's certain markets that are hot markets people want to get into before everyone else. And I think there's cooling markets too that gives an opportunity for some who haven't been able to play there before to have the opportunity to invest now. And then finally, I think some real estate companies going through this pandemic have decided we just need to get back to core. We want to stick to the markets that we know, to the asset classes that we know, and so and sell that's outside of our core. And I think that'll create some activity as well. So all in all, I would expect that towards the back end of 2021, we'll start to see some activity.
Jeff, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Diane. It's been a pleasure.
For more from NAREIT's REITwise, visit REIT.com.